Yo, everybody, it's me, Pops Van Zant from the Madness Comic Network, and I want you to have a heads up and look out for our sign-up page for the Roku campaign on Kickstarter. We're going to be trying to get the funding to get the Roku channel set up for people like that guy, the guy who's recording this, can get his show up there on Roku and start getting monetization today. So check us out, sign up, be ready. Peace.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
Alright, boys and girls, this is Ron from RomoArt, also from Sector 7. Alright, take two. Nope. How's it going? You're muted.
There I am.
Hey.
All right.
Yeah, now we got you.
All right. How you doing, buddy? Per usual.
Yeah, today I'm just not, I don't know, not feeling it. I woke up to nonsense today, so I'm just kind of in a meh mood. So we'll see.
We'll see if we can change that.
Well, yeah, we'll see where it goes. I figured this couldn't hurt.
That for a lot of people.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah. So, I want to thank my beautiful, amazing wife and producer Brittany for making my intro. She did that for me today, and I absolutely love it. And she is, hi, there's my girl. I told you, out of my league. I keep telling people she's way out of my league. I got really fucking lucky.
You did a great job, Britt. I love the music too.
Yeah. I absolutely loved it. And actually, speaking of, really quick, Brittany has a cookie business called Mabel Bakes, and absolutely phenomenal. You can ask Pops. Pops loves the cookies. Everybody loves the cookies, and I would like her to play her commercial for us right now before we get started.
Sugar for my honey, your tasty kiss thrills me so. Sweet for my sweet, sugar for my honey, I'll never ever let you go.
Mabel Bakes cookies are so good.
Go ahead, honey. Clarky's
Wait, what do we have to say?
and I tell her.
We love Mabel Bakes. I took a little bite. There's an extra cookie.
This commercial is a fail, guys.
You didn't have the info. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So only some of those kids are ours, guys. Just so you're aware. Yeah. Good. I love.
I thought you were like Amish there for a second. Just had a whole mess of. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I know better.
Only some of those kids are ours. I love Nene at the end. She's so freaking cute. She's the really giggly one that keeps giggling into the camera. She's so freaking cute.
Also, so I do this thing all the time, and I do it on camera, and I'm not sure that anyone's ever actually paid close enough attention. But like, I always do. Like, I'm always like rubbing crap on my nose, and I'm like, wow, people probably think I'm like back here doing.
I've never noticed
something. Right. I've watched myself do it, and I'm just kind of self-conscious. And like, when I realized I started doing it, I'm like, they probably like wondering what I'm putting on my nose, and it's usually just like these stupid peppermint oils or something like that because it opens up my sinuses. But I felt like
opens up the sinuses.
I felt like I should clarify a little bit before someone's like, is he just like, I don't know, like snorting coke?
Yeah, a little bit of nose candy up there.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem. I have a Vicks.
Matt's a good Christian man.
Yeah, well, it depends.
You do your best.
It depends on who you ask, I guess. But
you know. Yeah, well, if you ask a demon, you might not get the right answer. You know,
hey, I wasn't going there, but I was thinking.
We don't specify who that is, but
right.
You've known a few.
I've known a few. Yeah.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
So, okay. I wanted Matt to come on tonight because I've known Matt for a long time, and we've talked about fucking everything, multiple times. And I found out something new, and I'm pretty sure it's new. I do not remember him in 10 years I've known him ever telling me something that I learned. We were hanging out the other night. He only lives a few blocks away from me. So we had Matt over for dinner, and we were hanging out, and all of a sudden, I get the realization from Matt that he has a visceral hatred for all of the X-Men movies across the board, not just the ones that are everywhere. He hates them all.
I think,
I had no fucking clue. I had no idea.
I think part of it stems from some of them are worse than others, right? Like,
well, yeah. There are those that a lot of people like. The Last Stand, everyone hates, even though I love The Last Stand, to be honest. But
I thought it was okay. I didn't like hate it as much as I think like the rest, but I was because the weird part is I loved the X-Men comics growing up. I loved the X-Men cartoon growing up, and these movies were just such a far cry from that for me, and it never really captured me. I thought I was really disappointed that we had this amazing talent in Patrick Stewart that was just being wasted in these really below average films to me.
Below average.
Absolutely. I think
so,
there's
and it's funny because keep in mind now we are at the age where there's been so many comic book movies that no one even cares anymore, right? Everyone is quote unquote burnt out, which I don't even think that's true. I think they're just shit now. But back then, that was it. It was X-Men and Spider-Man, and since Batman had failed long before this is all there was. So everyone loved them. And even at that time, you hated them.
Yeah, I really couldn't stand them. I honest to God, like, this is not like, oh, I just hate it because it became cool to like, no one
hated them. It wouldn't have been cool.
No, right. Yeah, it was not cool. Like, it was, and I was like, no, they like, you had freaking one, and I know it's sacrilege now because everyone loves Hugh Jackman, but he was not Wolverine, and he was not jacked, man, in that first movie.
Not in the first couple. He wasn't.
I mean,
he was in basic runner shape. He wasn't built or anything.
Yeah, like it just was some tall guy with, like, I don't know, some crappy, hair gel and
gel. Yeah, gel in his
like
hair.
It was just, it wasn't even. He didn't look cool. He didn't sound cool. Like there was nothing about them that was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see the next one. I was like, ew, like, and we were talking about this the other day. Ian McKellen as Magneto was not Magneto. Like, he wasn't imposing. He wasn't threatening. He was always like the opposite of Xavier, right? Xavier was cerebral and wise, and Magneto's super smart,
physically frail, and wheelchair bound. And Magneto is like those ads you see on Facebook, like 60 and jacked. You know what I mean? Like Magneto had a chest out to here.
He was imposing.
And the white hair. So let me say to the audience, all three people watching, let me say to our crew, my pick back. So I completely agree with Matt about Magneto. And even though I grew to love him because honestly that's all we had, I knew it wasn't physical. I just knew it wasn't the right feel for the character. Amazing actor, but physically not. Another established actor that I think would have been perfect for Magneto was Rutger Hauer, who already had the white hair. He could have been, and back then he was younger. He could have gotten. If you look at Blade Runner, he was in decent physical shape. And I know X-Men was years afterwards, but he wasn't like in his 70s. He could have gotten, a little bit of shape back in there, and he would have been. And he's intense. Rutger Hauer is fucking intense.
Yeah, I'm looking at him and
perfect Magneto.
Dude, like, when he was younger, if he got a little jacked, that would have worked.
Yeah.
That would have actually pretty much nailed it.
It would have nailed it. So I think they totally missed the ball on that one.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, because again, that's all we had. When I watched Hugh Jackman, I saw glimpses of Wolverine, but the entire character, at least in the second movie, the first movie, there was a couple glimpses. The second movie, I thought he was way better, but by the time I had seen him a few times, I'm like, it's not enough. Like, he plays the grumpy Wolverine, but if you actually read the comics, like we were talking about, Wolverine is not just a grumpy old man, from the Civil War. Like, Wolverine is basically Dirty Harry. And a lot of the characters are kind of Dirty Harry. Even Sabretooth, in a way, is very Dirty Harry. But Wolverine is actually a very, very subtle and complex character that you could mistake for one-dimensional. But he's not.
I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. And I loved Wolverine growing up. He's easily in my top 5 Marvel heroes.
He was my first comic. Frank Miller's Wolverine was my intro.
Nice. I still have Wolverine's #1. The famous one with his face unmasked and the claws up on the cover. I still have that one to this day. He's one of my favorite characters of all time, and I just felt like they got him completely wrong. And I'm just like, this sucks. And like I said, I tried. I've watched them. Days of Future Past was pretty good.
Yeah,
that one was good. As far as the movies go, but hey, there's a Wolverine.
There it is.
And that Days of Future Past was good. The Wolverine was okay. Like, it was all right. Not Weapon. Wait, what was the first one?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes, thank you. That was it. I was about to say Weapon X. I'm like, that's not right.
That was. I hated that movie.
That movie sucked. The X-Men Origins
cool scenes, but that was it. You know what though? It was. It really sucks because at the time, what ended up happening, there was a producer. Yeah. There was a producer working at Fox at the time that was actually trying to destroy all the sci-fi. Like, I think at that point, Aliens vs. Predator was coming out. Like,
yes.
he had gone onto the set of Wolverine and like had it repainted with brighter colors and stuff. Like, he was actively working against any of the sci-fi fantasy projects that Fox was doing. So the director had to contend. I think the director, because he did Ender's Game. And even though I haven't rewatched it, I did see Ender's Game. And the director was capable. He could have done much better. And I think the studio really handicapped him.
You're talking about Origins, right?
Yeah, X-Men Origins.
Okay, yeah. That one I did not care for at all. Obviously, they got Deadpool wrong, which at that point wasn't a big surprise to me. Like, I'm just like, this is par for the course. This is what the X-Men movies do, is they screw up good characters. So I'm sitting there. No, I didn't like any of it. It wasn't enough that it was just like, oh, there's nothing else out there. It was like, no, this is garbage, and I hate it. Like, Sabretooth was one of my, at least the whole dynamic between him and Wolverine wasn't there. I thought that was crap. Like, I have very strong opinion. I'm very anti the X-Men films. I just can't get into them at all. And I've been hoping for a long time that we would see a reboot of sorts, to where we'd get something a little bit more authentic. But it seems like, Deadpool 3 is bringing back Hugh Jackman again. Like, and although I would like to just see the entire suit for once. Like, I would love to see Wolverine in costume, but I don't think they're going to have him put the mask on.
I've seen some. See, the thing is, like, I've seen the still photos from, Deadpool 3. You know what I mean? I don't like I've seen some really good costume designs, even for Yellow and Blue, that they can make it look pretty badass and like believable. And honestly, what they went with, it looks like a Halloween costume. Like, it looks like a yellow. It looks really cheap, to be honest. and I don't like it. I really don't like it.
I've seen, I forget what it was. It's some YouTube video where Wolverine fights someone else, and I'm trying to remember who it was now. But let me see if I can find it while we're talking here. But
yeah,
the costume I saw in it was actually really kind of decent. I mean, for a low budget kind of indie thing that people were doing, I thought it was super cool.
You said it was on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up real quick because it was like Wolverine versus Predator.
Bat in the Sun?
No, it looked Bat in the Sun. Yes,
Bat in the Sun. Yeah, he does the versus battles. Yeah, he does. He makes everything look really good. Honestly, that guy's that's a great freaking channel, man.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. Wolverine versus the Predator, and I'm sorry, it looks really cool. Like, I want to see that movie.
Do you see Wolverine versus Batman? I think there was. Wait, was it? Yeah, no, it was Wolverine. That was one of the first ones.
It was a video.
Wolverine versus Batman.
Nice. I remember when you said that, it reminded me of Dark Claw, the crossover character where Wolverine and Batman were the same character. Have you heard of that?
I remember seeing. I actually don't have that one, but I do remember seeing.
I remember reading that. I thought that was super cool. Well, it was just neat back in the day for like a one shot what if kind of thing, but it was really cool. But no, I haven't seen that other video, but to me, it was just more proof that like you can pull off Wolverine live action and have it look really good. Like
you can, but you've got to get you got to get the characters right. It's like you can pull off Superman, but making Henry Cavill look all tense and worried with his furrowed brow all the time doesn't fucking do it. Like,
you know what
he looks like Superman, but he's not acting like him. And Hugh Jackman, although he's like 6'4", he only got one dimension of Wolverine.
Yeah, and you know what? His height wouldn't have bothered me if he got everything else right. Like
it never bothered me. Dude, Wolverine is like 5'3" or something like that.
Yeah, you're never gonna get someone that short.
You're not. I mean, no, you're not. I mean, you could probably hide his height a little better than not trying at all.
Right.
But we got what we got. But I was just, like I said, I was really surprised because at the time there was nothing to compare it to. And I thought they did a great job with what they had. And you're like, fuck, no, it sucked.
No, I won't. I will watch either of the first two Fantastic Four movies. Or now hear me. I never saw the original Daredevil, but I've seen the director's cut, and I actually like the director's cut.
Dude,
any of those three before
anyone who's listening, for anyone who's listening, the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, there's two versions. There's the theater, and then there's the director's cut. Now at that point I was a huge Daredevil fan, so I actually went to the theater and saw the shitty version. Like, I think I saw it 7 times because I was really lonely and had nothing fucking better to do. So a lot of my time was spent in the theater. Now that the theater version was the producer's version. Again, it was the producer versus the director, and the director's version was the director's cut. And I have never seen and I've seen, we've seen a lot of director's cuts. I've seen a lot of director's cuts. I have never seen a director's cut that almost every single scene was different. I'm not kidding.
And it was a good movie. Like, it was a solid flick.
Much better. Like, people hated the theatrical one so much that they never gave the director's cut a chance.
I kind of want to go back and watch the theatrical one just to see how crappy it was.
I mean, I couldn't even fucking watch it anymore. Like, oh my God, I'm not kidding. It's a completely different movie, and everyone who enjoys a darker comic book movie should really give it a shot. You'd be really surprised. You've never seen a director's cut like this. It's not just like 7 minutes of extra footage. Almost every scene is different, and if you saw the theatrical version, you'll know. It was unreal. I know. I know they watered Elektra down for sure.
I really liked the director's cut. Daredevil had almost like, to me, it gave off not quite to the same extent, but it had a little bit of like Crow vibes to it, like just
it did
a touch of the Crow type of.
A lot of what that director did, he said, I'm paying homage to the Crow, which in my opinion is the best comic book movie ever made.
That's
so
that's an interesting take, you know, because I don't often, I logically, I know that The Crow is a great movie, and then I also know that it's based on a comic book. But when I think of
comic book together,
movies,
you don't put them together.
Really don't.
I know.
In the same sense as I don't really put or think of like The Walking Dead as a comic book TV show, but that's what it is, really. Like, you know,
that Tom Hanks gangster movie, was it called Redemption or something like that?
Yeah,
that was a comic book. That was a graphic novel.
Right. Like, there's so many of them now that are really growing. But The Crow is I actually, now I know a lot of people don't share this opinion, but I actually really like the sequel as well. It's not as good as the first one, but I still think it was City of Angels. I still think City of Angels was solid. And then
the sequel has a nice kind of place for me, but honestly, for the sequel, it had the ending. There was no. I know there was a bad guy. It was that black voodoo guy, and he was cool.
Yes,
but there was no sword fight on top of a church moment like the first one. Like
no.
The ending didn't give you the satisfaction. Like the movie built up, and then I just think it dropped at the end.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right about that, but I still think I have a special place in my heart for it. I really like Vincent Perez. I've liked him in a few different roles he's been in. He was also, I used to be a big Anne Rice guy when I was a teenager, until I got to like the 4th and 5th book in her Vampire Chronicles, where like pedophilia became a thing, and I was just like, oh no, I'm out, peace. Like, no, I'm done here. But for a hot minute, I was like super into her novels, and Vincent Perez was both in Queen of the Damned. He played Marius, and then he also was the Crow in the sequel. So I really like the sequel, but the first one is obviously one of the best, if not, I mean, among the best comic book movies ever made. And
I would say, honestly, like, even though I have a love for Captain America and everything, but when you throw the Crow into the mix, top 3, I don't know if there's a movie that really truly, like the Crow.
The two others that are coming to mind for me are because now the Crow's opening some doors for me, right? So I'm thinking of the very first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was freaking awesome.
Jesus, because it started as a comic book. Yeah,
it did. Yeah, movie. Right. But so
me,
now the first TMNT movie,
it's a comic book movie. It's a cartoon movie, but no, it all came from the comics. Holy shit,
exactly.
Right.
And actually, that first movie is based way more on the comics than the cartoon. There's no other mutants in Blade, yeah,
Blade is a top fucking 5. You're not going to beat Blade. Like it holds up today. As soon as the first Ninja Turtle movie.
Yeah, for me, Watchmen's in there. I love the Watchmen. That's got to be in there. And I don't know. I'd have to think about this. This is getting interesting now.
Pops has got a good point. Judge Dredd. Now, I have an affinity for both of them. I know. Well, here's the thing. I have an affinity for both. First of all, I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. That'll be a sad day when that man passes away. He was my childhood. Above Arnold. Him and Arnold, but for me, I went Sly. If you watch, I know it's got some quirky humor and it's got that little turd that is the comic relief from Saturday Night Live. Okay, I get it. But if you like sci-fi, that movie came out right before special effects went completely computer CGI. And dude, like that movie's got some really great sci-fi in it. So even the first one, to me, I have it on Blu-ray. I love it. Now the second one should have gotten a sequel greenlit immediately, because that movie was badass. That was dark, but it was wow. It didn't go completely sci-fi. It went future, but it didn't go flying car like Sylvester Stallone's did.
Right.
But holy shit, that movie was amazingly directed. Amazingly directed.
Judge Dredd is Bunny says Judge Dredd is not as good as Dredd.
Buddy, hey, buddy,
what's up?
Buddy!
Now the floodgates are open. Now I really got to think about this.
I've never in my life considered Ninja Turtles a comic book movie.
Right. Well, that first movie is actually much, even though it came out after. Yeah, it came out in 90, right? So the cartoon was 89, 88?
Yeah, it came out like a year or two after the cartoon. Basically,
yeah.
It was like greenlit probably when the cartoon was.
But tonally, it was much closer to the comic book than the cartoon by
I'd
far.
say it was a good mixture.
You're right.
It wasn't as dark as the comic book because the original comic was
super dark, yeah.
An homage to Frank Miller, but with some fever dream of Ninja Turtles. Like
it was almost well, it really was kind of like satire in a way. It was like this super almost comically dark take with a really silly premise. And even, I think we become really desensitized to it at this point, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a really goofy name. Like back then, I think it really was satirical in nature. Like it was a joke, right? Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like it just sounded goofy,
It did sound goofy. I don't know. Like I really think it was definitely satirical, but I do think it was paying homage though, because Frank Miller was the man. You know what I mean?
Oh, like for sure.
Like his Daredevil, like that's when Frank was doing the Daredevil and stuff. Like he was the guy that was doing like streetwise comic book stuff.
For sure. And clearly Frank Miller's signature's all over TMNT. The same ooze that, gave Daredevil his powers is the ooze that mutates the turtles.
Yeah.
Stick was from Daredevil and of course, the turtles get Splinter.
Literally everything.
Daredevil had the hand and the turtles fight the foot. So it really was like a loving homage that just worked. It hit all the right notes and somehow became this ridiculous cultural phenomenon.
I think you're the one that told me. I'm pretty sure you're the one that told me that. And I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. They were mad. Like one of them didn't like the cartoon, like hated the cartoon because it was too childish. And their Ninja Turtles were dark. And I thought that was absolutely, I don't know. Maybe if my thing got completely reversed into something that it was never meant to be. But the fact is, I wouldn't have known about the comics if not for the cartoon. The cartoon, it wasn't the comics that built the Turtles. It was the fucking cartoon and then the movies. And then the toys were just, it struck all the chords. But it wasn't the comic that did that.
The comic and the first run of the comic like sold out. Like they really were doing well as an indie comic. Like they broke records for indie comics, if I remember.
Comic,
right.
The Turtles, right?
Right. Yeah, thinking about that, but they
were an indie comic.
The cartoon turned them into a worldwide phenomenon. Like that's what did it. It was, you're right. The comic would have done okay with comic collectors, like with people who knew, and it might have gained a following over time and maybe eventually even gotten a show, but the cartoon really took it to the next level. And I know I'm usually a purist. I'm usually a purist, but I think the colored bandanas.
Movies, you're a purist.
I really am very picky. I can be a snob. I would call myself a snob in some cases. In a lot of cases, actually.
That's right, Laurie.
Yes, I'm with you, Laurie. I was born in '85, so I was really little when I first saw the cartoon, but that was like my first big thing. Like I did watch, like I remember my older brothers getting up and getting ready for school, and I'd watch them, or I'd hang out with them. I'd watch like Transformers and G.I. Joe and Thundercats in the morning and stuff like that.
Best.
But the Turtles was really my first like love, like as far as other than Godzilla, of course. as far as cartoons went, the Turtles was my first love. Yeah. I agree, Bunny. Oh, wait. Sorry.
Go back to yours.
I saw my nice. Eastman and Laird went from copying comic books on mimeograph machines to a major movie in around 5 years. They did okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they really did. Yeah, it really was like an insane rocket to stardom for them. And it was just it was just rewriting Daredevil with a goofy premise. Like I don't want to water it down because I want to give him a lot more credit than that, but like that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
It was really good.
This 2 years. Just
yeah. The new one. The new one, I don't know. I'm not a Seth Rogen fan. I'm gonna show my snobbery here. I can't stand Seth Rogen.
I don't think you need to be a snob to not like Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of hope for the new one. I thought he was adorable in the 40-year-old virgin days, but he's become quite Hollywood. And, I don't like a lot of newer comedy actors. It's weird. I'm like,
dude, that was like 17 years ago.
Yeah, well,
which is fucked up. I know it's fucked up. But that's like 17 years ago, dude.
So, I don't like. I guess I'll just say like, buddy. I like Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I think he's really funny. I enjoy watching his stuff. He's even been on forever at this point.
You know what's weird? I used to like Ryan Reynolds a lot, and there's something he's so likable that it's actually made me not like him more now.
Interesting.
Is it? I don't know what it is. Like okay, he's so likable that I feel like I'm supposed to like him. I'm like, no.
Well, I can kind of get. There is something in me that wants to rebel against that, just because it's like, oh, it's too mainstream. But like, I like Ryan Reynolds.
It's like The Hangover. Everyone loved The Hangover. Like, well, you got to see it. I fucking don't, and now I'm not going to. I didn't see The Hangover for like 7 years after it came out.
I'm with Pops. I am an Adam Sandler guy. I love Adam Sandler. I love Jim Carrey. I can't stand like. Growing up in the night, I can't stand Ben Stiller. I cannot stand Ben Stiller at all.
I used to love Ben Stiller.
Really?
I used to love Ben Stiller. But here's the thing. Ben. I loved Ben Stiller's small character roles in like Adam Sandler or something. Like when he was taking care of the elderly people in Adam Sandler's movie.
That was about the best role I'd ever seen.
Like I love Ben Stiller's character stuff.
Right. Yeah. No, I've tried watching him. Like I thought Night at the Museum would have been perfect if Jim Carrey played his character instead. Like I thought that would have been great. But I really don't like Mystery Men. I thought sucked.
Never saw. Oh, I tried to see it thinking it was going to be good. I shut it off. I shut it off. I was like,
the Cable Guy, like I said, just having him in it kind of Dodgeball. I don't know. I just can't get into him. I don't like Will Ferrell. Not a Will Ferrell guy.
Okay, until Will Ferrell's a sad one for me and Brittany, because until Will Ferrell's name was found on a certain person's plane list that went to some island. His name was on the manifest. And now I know not everyone that went there actually did stuff, but they were there and you don't know who did what. And it really made me sad because I fucking loved Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
Will Ferrell.
I'm glad I almost don't want to see the list at this point because they're not going to do anything about it. And
Bill Murray was on it. That made me sad. Fucking Bill Murray. Dude, I grew up with Bill. Like, I basically grew up with Bill Murray.
I did too. I really like him. Dude, What About Bob is a masterpiece to me.
Dude, Scrooge. Scrooge is like my favorite. Yeah, Scrooge is like my favorite holiday. Scrooge was amazing. Groundhog Day, I used to watch it religiously.
Yeah. Caddyshack.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude,
For
there
sure.
is, and I know that he's like this in real life, but no matter what he does, he projects this air. It doesn't matter who he's playing, of I don't give a fuck. And I've just always been attracted to his energy. Like, I love Bill. Like,
Ron, that is.
I want to just roller skate around New York City like he did in Ghostbusters. Like, I don't fucking. Who cares? I think was he on roller skates? No, he wasn't on roller skates. I think I'm lying. It's been a long time since I saw the first Ghostbuster. I think he did.
You know what I have a slight grudge against Bill Murray because, okay, I feel odd about admitting this out loud, but I absolutely love Garfield. Okay.
Yeah.
And growing up, like the cartoons and the holiday specials for Garfield for me were the best things ever. Lorenzo Music was Garfield's voice.
Yeah.
And no one's been able to get it right since.
Nope.
Not Bill Murray, not Frank Welker. Even though I respect Frank Welker a lot, he's been around forever, done all kinds of voices. But like, I kind of like Bill Murray kind of overacted Garfield a little bit, which I feel like would be.
It's my spirit animal. Nice.
Yeah, Garfield.
Love it.
Bill Murray's my spirit animal. Yeah, Garfield's mine.
Harrelson's good.
I just like a lot of food and to sleep a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
I wonder if he overacted it because it was like.
I don't think he cared.
Well, I wonder if he overacted because maybe he cared too much. Like maybe he knew everyone expected him to be amazing, so he tried a little harder. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't seem like his style, but I don't know.
He was just a little over the top, and it could be directing, it could be a lot of things. It was just really over the top for me. And like I said, given that the subtle deadpan sort of tone of Lorenzo Music in those old cartoons and those old, like I still watch the Christmas special from Garfield with my kids every year, like every single year. It is very much nostalgic for me, and I just Bill Murray. He soured me on Garfield. I like Bill Murray still, but not a fan. Faceplant in lasagna is harder than it looks. That's true. It's true, Bunny. I could pull it off.
So, like, it's interesting because the voice actor for Garfield was also the voice actor for Peter Venkman in the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Right.
Bill Murray's character.
Yes, that's like 5
degrees.
True.
It's like 5 degrees from Bill Murray. You know what I mean? Like it's
really,
yeah.
It's still bizarre to me that they had to call it the real Ghostbusters. Like,
do you know that there was a shitty ripoff cartoon?
Yes, that's.
Oh my god! Who the hell did not get sued for that? That's fucked up, dude.
I don't know how they pulled that off. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm sitting here going, man, someone knew something back then. I don't know, but
and I tell you, the real Ghostbusters, like that was a really like movie accurate cartoon. Like I religiously watched it because I was obsessed with Ghostbusters for like 3 fucking years. I think I was almost in high school before I stopped wearing a proton pack. I swear to God, I was such a fucking retard.
I liked Ghostbusters.
That my Batman cape. Yeah, like I'd like to get like I remember Walmart had like the full collection of the real Ghostbusters. I could never really afford it. But it had all the seasons and all the episodes and does it hold up as well as I remember it being? Nothing does. Cartoon wise, honestly, even like Ninja Turtles doesn't. It all.
Oh really? I love Ninja Turtles still.
The only one that it's exactly as I remember was Spider-Man and X-Men from the 90s. Those cartoons because they're on Disney Plus. Those hold up exactly as I remember.
For me,
like Ninja Turtles and anything else I used to love and watch, like I still love it, but it doesn't. I'm like, oh man, this is like Saturday morning cartoon.
For me, the first season of Ninja Turtles is still pretty excellent. Like, even if you like acknowledge it gets kind of campy and a little, cheesy after that. Like, and they stop using their weapons and crap. That first season to me was really solid on Ninja Turtles. I would say cartoons that hold up from the 90s. DuckTales would be one for me.
See, I was too old.
I love DuckTales.
I was like a junior in high school when DuckTales came out. I didn't want
that
the only reason
that would have been past you.
I know of it was because the Batman animated series was in that like 2-hour window.
Right. And I was going to say that was
Batman.
literally
That's right, baby.
That was literally the next words out of my mouth was the Batman animated series still holds up in my opinion.
Never like that was art. That was literally moving art. Like it was unbelievably beautiful. And yeah, you can't absolutely.
There was I still, and again, this one's probably beyond your time, Darkwing Duck, which was a spinoff of DuckTales.
I was out of it, like I said, I was looking at Playboys by that.
Well, true. Yeah. Let's see. Darkwing Duck was probably like 92-ish. So I was like 7 or 8.
Mark Hamill done lost his mind now though, babe. But Mark Hamill's such a Hollywood freak now. He's such an idiot.
Yeah. So those so I'd say those 4 for sure. Gargoyles, I think, still holds up really well.
Gargoyles was awesome.
And they're getting a movie.
Gargoyles was like Bruce Timm-esque. It had a little bit of Bruce Timm flair to it. It was so well. It was really cool.
Yeah. And I think they're getting a movie. I read like next year.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they'll probably start making out or something, but
right.
You can't help that anymore. So, Larry
let's see.
From the 60s, actually first sign. It was actually. Oh yeah, but no one knows that but you, Bunny. No one would know that. No one would know that, TB, but you. I'm sure it was first. I completely believe you. But that cartoon was a lie in my childhood. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
Doesn't mean I don't love you. That cartoon made me so mad.
Let's see what else. Solid picks from the 90s. I mean, I don't know. I bet you there's some hidden gems I'm not thinking of too. Like,
you know what?
Some of the big ones.
I want to bring this back to X-Men really quick because something else we talked about, and we got like 12 minutes left. Something else we talked about, we probably got a little bit more, but I gotta finish a page for Chris, like I always have to. I always gotta go, so I gotta draw. We also talked about the X-Men cartoon and how the way it felt like throughout the 4 seasons, how it was almost exhausting to watch because they kept upping the ante. And everything was just, if you missed an episode, the storylines were so long that you didn't know what was going on. And everything just kept getting bigger and louder. And it lost its appeal.
Yeah, I find this, I call it I don't really have a great term for it, but I've called it like the chaos factor. Like where you get to a point in these cartoons or movies where nothing ever goes back to normal and they forget how to tell the smaller stories that made you fall in love with that media in the first place. Like, and Turtles was guilty of this too by the, what they call in the fandom, the Red Sky seasons. It was it was constant chaos and it felt like, too tense, like even to watch, like, there was no ebb and flow to it, at least in my opinion. And I think you're right. It comes from that constant desire to, keep upping the ante, to just keep escalating, the issues and try to make everything, how can we top ourselves?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to top yourself. You just have to tell a good story. I think,
and I will, and I brought up the point, because I feel like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because I agree, you don't have to top yourself. So you'll have the fans complaining, it was too much action. There's not enough story. But if you put more story in, you'll have the fans complaining, I already saw that in the last movie. They should have had more action. They didn't punch someone in the face. Like, it's at some point, 2 movies, I don't even know if you should even do trilogies. Just,
right.
I don't know what you'd call it, duologies. I don't fucking know. But like maybe just leave one alone. I don't know. But a franchise is like we were talking. Like it seems to me that every franchise is susceptible to that chaos cancer. There's almost no way around it because you do have to top it. But you could only make the movie so long. And then like Transformers started to be like 3 hours long with 2 straight hours of explosions. And you're like, oh my God, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And
yeah,
you don't
Bunny
care
brings up
because there's no story.
Yeah, you need the. I agree with Bunny, and the X-Men cartoon didn't start off that way. It started off like decent, where there was like nice pacing, but by the end of it, like you just felt like there was no simple stories anymore. Spider-Man, like you know what was really interesting to me about No Way Home was actually seeing, Spider-Man in New York City at the end of it. Because we really never got to see him just as Spider-Man solving, a robbery. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, No Way Home, was that the last one?
No. Sorry, which one is that? Is that one? Or is that No Way Home?
Which
there's Homecoming, Far From Home, and then No Way Home.
No Way
So
Home
that
was the last one.
with what? Yeah, that's the third one, right?
The third one.
Yeah. So the one with all the Spider-Man. But at the very end, it shows him just swinging through Manhattan.
Yeah, like during Christmas time, it was snowing. Yeah.
Right. And he's in a more traditional looking red and blue suit, not Stark Tech, obviously. And, to me, I was like, wow, that's a story I'd really like to see, because it wasn't like Avengers. Like Avengers kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and like the whole Marvel universe did, and now they can't tell any smaller stories, or not very well. And even the ones they are telling aren't that compelling to me.
Well, they killed off any good character that you care about. So I mean, they need a total. They need to. Now we're like every other fucking channel on you. I tell you what they need to do. They need to hire good writers who know the source material. Ugh.
Yeah, right.
But what they need to do is go with something like that. Stop doing characters no one gives a shit about. No one cares. But if they could just do, we've been wanting them, maybe 7 years ago or 10 years ago when they were good. We've been dying for them to do X-Men or Fantastic Four. And now that they have those properties, I don't even want that anymore. Because they're just gonna fuck it up. I don't want to see what they have to do with these things now. And so you've seen the last Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that next time, because I feel me and Brittany literally were watching it in bed and we shut it off. And then I watched it, like finished it the next day at work, because I'm lucky enough to have a job where I have some downtime. It was laughable to us. I think the entire community got a heavy dose of member berries and totally blanked out.
I don't think it was. I'm glad we disagree. I love it when we disagree, because it makes for really interesting conversations.
Yeah.
I don't hate that movie. I actually disliked the one before it a lot more.
The one before it I actually liked.
The Mysterio one?
You saw the Mysterio one too.
Oh yeah, I've seen all three of those.
We got to talk about this. We got to watch these movies so we can talk about this now, because I like the Mysterio one more than even the first one. I didn't like the first one that much. I don't like the world they put him in. I don't like that he had even friends. I don't like the SJW bullshit. But then the middle one I thought was just the Mysterio one I thought was really cool. And then the last one, the script was fucking laughable. And I don't get how all these channels that just hate on anything that comes out across the board, everyone loved that movie. And I'm like, nope. I could objectively tell you why it was a bad movie. And if you like it, that's fine. But I can objectively say why it was bad.
I'm not going to be its biggest defender, because it's not. No Way Home is like to me, it's one of the brighter spots in the Marvel universe in a while. The MCU, it's not as bad as some of the other crap I've seen. And
no, it wasn't as bad. But the thing is, like, God, what do we have to compare it to anymore? Like,
there was definitely
that
some
people
member
loved.
berries. There's definitely some nostalgia going on as well.
Yeah, but the whole movie was member berries. Like you knew who was coming in. So so even when they weren't on screen, you knew they were coming. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing.
So let me say this. I really don't like the whole multiverse stuff anyway, because I think you inevitably write yourself into corners with plot holes.
I don't even like it in comic books. I think
I don't either. I'm not a fan.
And time travel, multiverse, and we've had this discussion. Multiverse and time travel, lazy writing.
Yes.
I tell you what they need to do. It just knock it off, dude.
No, Terminator 1 and 2 are about the only things that I think have really gotten time travel really well done. And then
because it was only the time travel was all time travel was in those movies was a way to start the movie. The rest of the movie wasn't about time travel. You know what I mean? It didn't get into the intricacies of, well, if I do this, then this will happen, and this will create an alternate timeline. Like they did that later.
Right.
The first two Terminator movies were about so much more. Time travel was just like the basis of how this happens.
Right. And it wasn't, no, I agree. I think Terminator 1 and 2 handled that masterfully. But I'm right off the bat, I'm not a fan of the concept of using the whole multiverse stuff.
No.
However, I think if you're going to go with that, I think No Way Home did it about as well as they could have done it.
No, I agree.
At least as well as I would expect Marvel to be capable of doing it nowadays.
I didn't have a problem with the member berries in that. I didn't have a problem with the multiverse in that. I had a legit problem with the fucking script. It was so bad. It was the plot holes were giant. So Peter goes through this whole fucking thing because he doesn't want his friends affected by his actions. And the first thing he does is bring his friends back into the fold to help get the bad guys. Nope, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
He screws up the entire multiverse to save his friends from his bullshit. And the first thing he does is bring his friends knee deep back into his bullshit. It's horrible. I was so pissed, dude. And no one called it out. No one called it out on any channel that I saw.
Because one, that whole plot was stupid.
That's my point. That's my point.
But they had to have a reason to bring all these other characters
T-Bunny's
in.
Gotta have something to say about this.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely will have a lot more to talk about on.
We gotta talk about because it's interesting that you didn't like the second one and I did.
Well, I thought the second one was okay. I don't think I liked it as much as the third. I'd have to go back and watch it. It's been a little while. I didn't really care for the first one. It wasn't all that memorable to me.
No, the first one cheated. I'm sorry, but the first one cheated.
Right.
Tony Stark held the first one. That was not a Spider-Man movie. No,
right.
You can't. That doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
And then, so then the second one was okay. I really thought Jake Gyllenhaal totally sucked at his I don't know why.
Funny? I actually liked him, and this is great.
That's so weird. I really didn't like him in that role, which I was really surprised at. I just felt like he had no, I don't know, he was missing something, and I can't quite.
People usually think that about Jake Gyllenhaal, honestly.
Well, yeah.
I remember Family Guy made a joke about him and his sister, and they're like, "You're both awful. You're both just so off-putting."
Oh, I mean, she was so great as Rachel in the Dark Knight trilogy, right?
I laughed when she blew up. Oh my god! Thank God that bitch blew up because she. First of all, the first Rachel, whoever, was awful, and then they get someone.
Katie
uglier.
Holmes.
Who the hell's idea was that to get Miss Piggy as Batman's love interest? It was ridiculous. And then that bitch exploded. I was like, thank God that character's done. It didn't need to be there. No one wanted her.
Yeah.
So it was ugh.
No, it was Tom Cruise's wife at the time she was.
Yeah,
Katie
at the
Holmes
time
was the first one. But yeah, that character was just really bad.
She was universally disliked. Like no one liked her.
Yeah,
no one fucking liked her.
It was just really bad. But no, we could definitely hash out the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
What else? We got to start making a list of things we have.
Well, we got to do our Nolan thing. I mean, maybe after Spider-Man, maybe we save Spider-Man but maybe we do our Nolan thing next because we've got. I mean, that our Nolan thing could be a movie per hour.
I know. There's a reference to it, but I think we need to bring back. Like you still do, because right now, like we're doing the RomoArt kind of thing. I think we should have another, like, find room somewhere to do Matman and Romo.
Brittany's got the Matman and Romo logo in my intro.
I saw that.
Yeah.
But that way we could just do this regularly, and then you could still do your art and stuff like that. Have other guests.
Yeah, no, I'm sure Pops would have no problem fitting in another show with me and you just doing our thing together. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You know, I can't have too many shows a week. There he is.
Of course.
Yeah, see, Pops is all up for it. So, but you know, we got to make sure that you can do it, especially when you get back into teaching, that you're going to be okay with whatever time we do it. Because I don't like that's one reason why this can like working with Pops is good for me because it forces me to show up. You know what I mean?
You know, and for sure,
Suggestion.
And we made it a
suggestion. Suggestion. You can make Monday night Batman and Romo, and Friday night RomoArt.
I would be totally for that.
Wouldn't
I'm
change
fine with that.
That way you wouldn't change anything as far as time slots go. You're still out here twice a week. You're not adding another show. You're just splitting them up in your two existing time slots already.
Dude, I'm totally cool with that. Matt, what we can do, pick a night that you think would work better, Monday or Friday, and we'll start this.
Okay, yeah, I think Monday would work.
Monday's
pretty
good?
Well, normally, yeah, because and as long as you're okay with that, I don't want to take away any screen time from you.
I want you on my show anyway, so we might as well bring in the Matman and Romo. I got the logo done.
I just think that,
year.
yeah, I think that was brilliant marketing on our part, Matman and Romo.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So what? Did Brittany come? I think Brittany came up with Matman and logo. Matman and Romo, she said.
Yeah, no, right, and I couldn't recall exactly who or what, but
Brittany did.
No, I'm sure she did. She's full of good ideas.
Good producer.
Yes. So no, that one is definitely a winner. So I'm all on board with that.
Sweet.
And
awesome.
Yeah. We'll get some stuff done.
Well, we got to end this one tonight, folks, because I have got to go draw. I've got about half a page to ink, and then I can get paid, and I can pay some rent, and get a little stress off me. So,
all right,
thank you very much, buddy.
You guys just let me know when you send me the description for your show. Just let me know which show I'm doing, and give me a title, and we're good.
I'll talk to Matt. I'll talk to you this weekend about it, and Pops, I'll let you know, and maybe Monday can be our first show together.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I'm out of here, dude.
Have a great night.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, man.
Bye.
You want to lead us off, babe?
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Entertainment Group
Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.